William Boyd finally speaks up about Randolph Scott. William Boyd was born. William Lawrence Boyd was born on June 5, 1895. In Hendrisburg, Ohio. Boyd's early years were not paved with the glitz of showbusiness. Later, his family relocated to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then California, where he worked a few odd jobs until he started his career as an actor. He was an orange picker, surveyor, and even amadel of a department shop. These expenses gave him a solid understanding of life that eventually came across as real into the personalities that everyone can relate to shown on screen. Boyd's tough, good looks and an obvious presence on screen got him tiny parts in silent movies through Goot the 1910s and 1920 Seconds. His in the late 1920s. They made a big step forward when was in big movies like Sile directed The Volga Boatman in 1926, B. Deal and The King of Kings. 1927, Boyd was a leading man for a while, demanding the attention of fans and the studio favor. But as Hollywood went from silent movies, Boyd's career took a big turn with Talkies Problem, a case of mistaken identity in a scandal, in which he was wrongly connected to another actor with the same name. Briefly embroiled in a legal issue damaged his reputation and almost ended his job. He was put on a blacklist by studios and was about to go crazy off being unknown. Boyd, on the other hand, did not want to give into despair. With grief, took a risk with perseverance and commercial sense, a planned risk that might change the course of his life. Boyd in 1935 got the rights to make a movie based on Clarence E. Mulford's Hopalong Cassidy stories and seized charge of the character's future of movies. He not only played in the first movie as Hopalong Cassidy, but he also helped make it. It started out as a cheap western, became a big deal. People liked Boyd's portrayal of the character, a clean, alive, a cowboy with silver hair who was respectable and wore black and battled for what was right in a dangerous, unpredictable frontier. Not like Hopalong is one of the many anti-heroes in the genre, Cassidy was a good example because he was bold and noble, and never hesitant to speak up for what was correct. Boyd lived from 1935 to 1948, played the lead role in a mind-blowing 66 Hopalong movies with Cassidy. His cowboy character went beyond movies and into TV, the 1950s, which made Boyd one of the first stars to see and take use of in the new medium. He put together a group of people to work together, the Hopalong Cassidy movies for TV, and even made fresh content for the performance. His vision worked out very well. Hopalong became a national. Boyd's face on the brand comic books, cereal cartons, and lunchbox with a never-ending list of licensed things for sale. Kids all around the US loved him, and parents respected the values he stood up for. Even though Boyd stayed humble and kind, even after he became successful man of principles. He wouldn't let his character to back products he thought were not good for kids. When he turned down offers that didn't match, it cost him because of his moral compass, money-wise. But he got even more respect. Boyd always remembered Faith was a role model for millions of kids. Fans. He was in charge of that, with a lot of honesty. William Boyd, the greatest famous for playing the clean-cut cowboy hero, Hopalong Cassidy, led a discreet, but busy personal life that had both emotional highs and terrible lows. During his Boyd got married 5 times in his life, each marriage showing a different part of his route to fame and personal change. His first wife, betrothed to Laura Maines, a rich woman from Massachusetts, its rich past took Boyd into high society far enough from the dusty pathways of westerns from Hollywood. Even if Faith's marriage didn't last long, but it was a Boyd went through a big change when he started finding your way through the complicated world of high society while meeting the needs of a rapidly growing cinematic career. Boyd's second wife was an actress, Ruth Miller, with whom he had a boy called William Wallace, who is their sole kid. Boyd. Sadly, their baby Boyd died from pertussis, which is also known as swooping cough, when he was only 9 months old. The death of his son was very sad, and a terrible blow that left an unmistakable mark. Boyd's heart was marked. People who are close to him say that he didn't talk about it very often. People talked about the catastrophe in public, but it was well known that the agony never really went away him. The loss made a permanent and emotional emptiness that may have helped to the inevitable end of his married to Miller, still looking for affection and friendship. Next is Boyd married Eleanor Fair, who was a well-known actress in silent films, who had been taught to be one of the best in Hollywood. Youthful people with a lot of potential. Their wedding was often in the news, with press often making them look like a stylish and charming couple. But, like his other marriages, this one marriage also ended in divorce, showing the problems Boyd had to deal with in finding a balance between personal happiness and the stress of being famous. His Dorothy was his fourth wife, Sebastian, whose own career in movies has got her a lot of fans during the time before and after Sound. Their relationship, although at first affectionate, ultimately endured the stress of Hollywood's constant examination and the personal goals these often draw couples in different directions. The termination of their marriage made things worse, highlighted Boyd's difficulty in locating prolonged emotional satisfaction in the glitter of fame. Boyd's last and married Grace for the longest time. Bradley, a well-known actress and singer who stayed with him until his death. This time, unlike his other marriages, his marriage to Bradley was characterized by calm, stability, and respect for each other, but love that lasts. Bradley became Boyd's most trusted friend and strongest supporter, especially in the latter as he became older and older, walked out of the spotlight. Their connection have a lot of love and loyalty for each other. Bradley kept honoring Boyd's long after he died. After leaving the screen and retiring the silver-spurred boots off, Boyd switched his attention to Hopalong Cassidy, paying attention to business deals. Most notably, putting his savings into leftover money into real estate. He went to the new desert town of Palm Desert, California. Is a quiet and sunny place, soaked enclave that had both peace and a feeling of privacy. Boyd changed himself there once more, not as a famous person or a cowboy hero, but as a smart and forward-thinking businessman. His investments paid off, making sure he could live well away from the stress and demands of life in public. As he became older, William Boyd made a choice on purpose to go away from the public eye. Read about keeping the perfect picture of Hopalong Cassidy. The brave, honest cowboy who had inspired Boyd refused to give in to generations of young fans. All demands for interviews, public appearances, or new photos, appearances, or fresh pictures. He thought that any change from the good image he had made of himself on the screen can take away some of the fun and the audience's admiration for the character. In a time when stars are becoming older, often wanted to be in the spotlight for a long time, Boyd's retreat in their twilight years was a shocking gesture of self-acceptance and loyalty to his legacy. For a lot of people, it was a sign that his steadfast dedication to the principles and image he had worked on for a long period. After years of stillness, people started to guess, and stories that were whispered around the link between two of Hollywood's William Boyd, one of the most famous Western stars, best renowned for his famous depiction of Hopalong Cassidy, finally talked about his long-rumored friendship with the good-looking Randolph Scott was reserved. In a rare and passionate interview given late in his, Boyd brought light to the complicated parts of life, sometimes misunderstood nature of their link. That shows a bond that was not just by their shared fame, but also by a strong mutual esteem built in the golden age of American movies. As per Boyd, he hadn't said anything in years, because of dislike, lack of interest, or distance, but rather a dedication to protecting the private identity that both men valued. Boyd Randolph was a man of few words, remembered, his voice full of longing, but you listened when he talked. He didn't try to get famous, he walked next to it. Boyd thought Scott was quite stoic, wasn't being distant, it was honesty, and in a field where egos often got in the way of, Boyd thought that protecting values was important. The modest loyalty they had for each other was more important than feeding the public curiosity. The Two actors initially met in the early 1930s, when they were both on their rise in Hollywood's growing Western genre type. Boyd has only started to shape Heisen's screen persona as the ethically upright cowboy from the Hopalong Cassidy books. Scott, on the other hand, was tall and was soon becoming dignified and proud, a favorite in both action and dramas about love. Even though they were never stars in a big movie, their careers typically went in the same direction, with each representing a distinct side of the American hero from the past. Boyd, the friendly lawyer with the code of honor. Scott, the mysterious loner who wanted justice over applause. Boyd said that their bond was stable, but silent. They were not the type to be spotted partying at nightclubs or on the front page of the news. They were together, but they wrote letters to each other, private lunches, and sometimes fishing vacation far away from the Hollywood Boulevard's flashbulbs. What here love was not the only thing that brought them together of the West, but also their dedication to building a legacy that would last through for a long time. We talked about legacy a lot. Boyd spoke a lot. We wanted to living behind traits that made Boyd shave faith in.